day, they lifted the world into a new dimension. $600 million to fulfill a plea by the Allies to have 5,000 airplanes and 4,500 pilots on the Western Front by the spring of 1918.
On August 27, 1939, the Heinkel AG-178 became the world's first jet-propelled aircraft.
From the NBC newsroom in New York, President Roosevelt said in a statement today that the Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, from the air.
The Battle of France is over. The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
In this new form of air travel, Britain has the chance to make up the leeway lost in the war, when we were developing combat aircraft to the exclusion of all else.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
On the afternoon of May 1st, Argentine Mirages and British Sea Harriers come head-to-head in the first aerial combat of the war.
Touchdown, 6 seconds ahead of time, according to the clock.
Space Shuttle's first Florida landing.
A lot of happy people back there.
2,230 coalition aircraft are sent to bases in Saudi Arabia, and 6 carrier battle groups are deployed in the region.
Just seconds after takeoff, flames streaming from its port engine, Air France Concorde Flight 4590 struggles to stay aloft.
An aviation first of sorts, a flight across the English Channel in a plane powered only by lithium battery.
History is filled with the impossible. In 1903, the Wright brothers changed the world, and in a few weeks, NASA will try and change space exploration with its own moment of flight on Mars, 246 million kilometers from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2021 YS Warbird and Light Aviation Show. The show is already underway with the opening ceremonies and flypasts. So look to your right now for an accumulative of nearly 10,000 horsepower of the Avro Vulcan, the Hawker Hurricane, the Supermarine Spitfire, and the Douglas DC-3 Dakota of the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. As the Hurricane and the Spitfire break off formation to head back to their home at RAF Coningsby, the home of the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. The iconic noises of all the Merlin engines all at once is something very missed in YSFlight. But up next, if you look again to your right, we have another few aircraft, and these are not small, these are big. The long since retired Nimrod and VC-10 aircraft. Some of the most iconic and beautifully made British aircraft ever. From the right now, get your photo-taking devices ready. As the two VC-10s head back to their home at RAF Bryce Norton, the home of most of larger Royal Air Force aircraft. But there's still many more to come. If you look again to your right, we have the Chinook, one of the most iconic helicopters ever made, with the beautiful twin rotor design. Escorted by two AH-1 Apaches from the British Army. A common sight is two Apaches alongside a Chinook like this. The Chinook is completely unarmed and will go into a battle area, land, and then will be picked up with troops or drop off troops, while the two Apaches then protect. but they're back home going off now. But if you look to your right, we have some faster aircraft. Ladies and gents, from the right, the two Harrier GR7s with a Sea Harrier from the Royal Navy. The iconic VTOL aircraft design is a staple of British aviation heritage. And the Harriers are going back home now to make way for the next part of the flypast. From RAF Coningsby, once again, the two Eurofighter Typhoons with a recently retired Panavia Tornado GR4. The two Typhoons have now broken off formation. One of the Typhoons and a Tornado have broken off their formation to return back home to RAF Coningsby. Now, the final part of the demonstration and the opening flypast we have for you today includes a few very, very spectacular aircraft. But we would like to dedicate it to somebody quite important to Britain. As some of you may know, about a week ago, we heard the news of the passing of Prince Philip, His Royal Highness. He had been a part of the royal family. He's the longest serving member of the royal family in British history. He also created one of the greatest things Britain has ever seen, as, for me, is the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme, which gives young people in the United Kingdom a chance to go out, have an adventure, to do something they wouldn't usually be able to do. A few hours ago, His Royal Highness had his funeral, and the nation observed a minute of silence for the royal family. And I ask everybody now to come and have another minute of silence as we watch the final part of today's opening flypast. A Royal Air Force tribute would not be the same without them. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Avro Vulcan, escorted by the 9 Hawk T1s of the Royal Air Force Red Arrows. And there we have it, ladies and gents. But we're not quite done. The Vulcan wants to have another little wave goodbye. So get your photo-taking devices ready for one of the most British, iconically British aircraft, the Avro Vulcan. as the Vulcan waves goodbye and goes back home to nobody knows quite where. Doesn't actually fly anymore. But there we have it, folks. That is the introduction to today's show, and we can officially say the YS 2021 Warbird and Light Aviation show is officially open.